Certifications. So I wanted to start. There's a thing people talk about, first principles thinking, whatever. I want to go back to the very first question, the very basic question of what do you need to be a coach? And when you think about it, at the very basic level, you need to call yourself a coach. Boom. Then I am a coach. At the next level, the real level, you actually have to coach people. You have to communicate in a way that helps them change what they do until that changes who they are. So for a strength coach, you have to get with them on the platform and coach them a squat. You have to provide a program to somebody and coach them in how to get through it. But you'll notice that in those first two steps, I never once mentioned certification. At the point where you're coaching people, you are a coach. And certification wasn't required. Now, there are further steps. If you want to be a paid coach, we need to layer on the step of how you're going to collect and receive payment. And then if you want to be a professional coach, we've got to add in a couple of other things. We've got to add in a system of communication, a system of execution, so that you can actually deliver the program and deliver like the right cues on time. You need to cover liability, so your waivers, your questionnaires, that kind of material, your liability insurance, and you need, just make sure I don't miss everything because it's important, and legality. You need to make sure that you're actually recognized by the state as a business if that's important in your state, province, country. So yes, there are those 4 levels. But again, at no point, even a professional coach does not necessarily have to be certified in most jurisdictions. And for a lot of people, that's like, wait a minute, when I am professional, there's an assumption that this coach is certified, that probably that they have a whole roster, a whole library of certifications. So how is it that you can be a professional coach and not be certified? Well, the basic answer is that in most places in the world, most countries, most provinces, most states, coaching is not licensed. So legally, there is no definition of what it means to be a coach. And there is no board out there, there is no licensing board that is there to say, yes, you are allowed to be a coach. You qualify. Or if you don't execute to the standards of a coach, there's no licensing board to say, we have stripped you of the title of coach. The only standard that's held to is, I guess, a legal standard of negligence. If you hurt somebody as a coach and they sue you, then what happens? This is not universally true. To my understanding, you can have by proxy requirements. So I've talked to some UK coaches, for instance. It is very difficult, if not impossible, to get insurance or personal trainer, like a spot, or to open a gym without a UK rep's recognition and certification. So in that country, and I've also heard Brazil, but I don't have specific details on that, it is licensed or effectively licensed. But for most people in the world, it's not. So, if that's the case, then why is it that the ACSM, NSCA, I could list the 4-letter acronyms just all day long. Why is it that people look at these as not only necessary but assumed? Like, you'll get into conversations and people say, oh, I'm trying to do this particular exercise online, and they'll go, you should go to a certified coach. And when people ask, how do I look for, how do I make sure that I'm not getting scammed? It's like, oh, make sure that they have a certification. What does a certification even mean? Well, a certification in our industry, where there is no licensure, there is no license, a certification just means this organization says, you have passed our protocols for getting this certification. You've taken a test, you've paid a fee, you've done whatever is required, you attended a seminar, and we validate that you passed those protocols. That's it. So when you look at big name organizations, who accredit certifications, they're not saying this person is a good coach. What they're saying is, we have validated that these 4-letter organizations have, in fact, proper processes and documented procedures to accurately and professionally document your completion of the steps. This is how you can have, I'm pretty sure I saw it a while ago, the same organization that credentials many of the big names, also credentials, I believe, in acupuncture, like acupuncture. Interesting. So why is it that we think the credential validates a coach? That is actually assumed. The company, the provider, builds up a reputation and says, you trust us, you trust the NSCA, Barbell Logic, you trust Westside for their Westside cert. You trust us, and you trust that we will hold a standard that means that our coach has a certain set of skills. I feel like Liam Neeson, I have a specific set of skills. And that only goes so far. Because most of our customers, if you're a private coach, like you working one-on-one or one in small group, like entrepreneurially seeking clients for yourself, most of your clients don't know the difference between ASC or ACSM, NSCA. They don't know, right? Or ISSA or any of the dozens that are out there. They don't know the difference between an email correspondence cert and something that takes some time to develop. So, should you get certified as a coach? I think there's a better question. Is what do you get out of certification? Or under what situations should you get certified? And here's my list. First, not everyone knows the difference between these different certifications, but there are enough clients who at least expect to see a certification of some kind. So having letters after a name is more important than having a specific set of letters. So if you are in that place and you feel like that's going to potentially be a barrier between you and introduction to some clients, and this is most often if you are meeting people you don't personally know, not through your network of friends and loved ones, then okay, a certification makes sense. And honestly, the quickest certification that gets you in that front door is probably the best one. Because we want to put the fewest barriers to you applying the skills of being a coach. Because in order to be a coach, you need to coach in order to learn how to become a more effective coach. So next, some certifications unlock specific doors. I don't recommend getting a certification to keep options open, right? Especially since many of these certifications come with high fees and high recertification fees. Instead, get a certification if it's going to unlock a specific door. When I was getting out of the Navy and starting to coach, I wanted to get hands-on with people and start working right away. And in my local area, the best place to do that was at a CrossFit gym. My experience was in barbell training, and my experience was somewhat in my military background. So in that style of conditioning, and I had some experience with CrossFit, right? But it didn't matter what skill that I had or how many people I had coached. If you don't have a CrossFit level 1 cert, you are not working at a CrossFit gym. So my first job, the first certification I needed to get after I left the Navy was my CrossFit level 1. And then I was working at a CrossFit gym and working with 100 plus people a day, which for me, that was the goal, to coach. So third, some certifications channel learning is what I would consider, is what I'll call it. So many programs, they are essentially education programs with a certification on the back end to validate that you learned the material. Honestly, this is a lot of the private certifications out there. I would count one that I have, the Precision Nutrition certification. What it is an education program. And it is an education program that is designed from start to finish as a curriculum to teach you to execute a skill. And for a lot of new coaches, that's kind of what they need to learn how to execute. And so the certification is the way that I know I have learned the material appropriately, and it kind of gets you started. What does it look like to coach nutrition in the style of Precision Nutrition? What does it look like to coach barbells in the style of Barbell Logic, the way Barbell Logic staff coaches coach, and to get you started on that process? Do you need a certification for this? Because this can become a big excuse. Oh, I want to be a better coach, and these coaches are better at X skill, then I guess I need that certification. My answer would be, if you never got the certification on the back end, if you never got the piece of paper, or if you never put the letters after your name, would learning that skill set make you a better coach, getting better results with your clients, leading to, effectively in a culture of testimonials, but that's business side. So leading to testimonials and more clients in the future and better outcomes. If you never advertised that you went through that process, would your practice improve enough that it's shown through? If it wouldn't, if you're getting it to get the piece of paper, it's not really about the learning. And so it doesn't fit into this category. The final one that I think is a legitimate reason is to demonstrate a specialty. So if you want to work with powerlifters, not only are they more likely to know the difference between powerlifting certifications and styles and brands and methods, for instance, but you want to demonstrate to powerlifters that even if they're not that aware, that I am a powerlifting coach. So having the certified personal trainer doesn't mean anything to that group. Having a Westside Barbell cert, having a barbell specific or a powerlifting cert, one of the federation certifications, the professional barbell coach certification that we offer, something that demonstrates that I am focused on the specific activity and that appeals to that specific audience. So the 4 that I look for in certification when I'm asking, do you really need one? 1, is it your first and do you need one getting out the door? That's a maybe, maybe not, that we would have to talk about. Number 2, does it unlock a specific door for you that helps you coach now? That you need in order to coach today? 3, does it channel learning? Does it develop, is the certification the cherry on top of learning a process that is going to make you a better coach? And 4, does it establish you as a specialist in an audience that you already know, that you care about, and that you already serve? Oftentimes in that 4th one, to get the certification when people you are already serving respect that certification. They talk about it, or they talk about the people who provide it, the organizations, the educators, the influencers. I'll add in a 5th one, and this is one that I personally do not like, but I understand the psychology of it, and that's permission. And there are some people, and this is just very human nature, they feel like I need someone to knock on my shoulder and tell me, yes, you have done the work, you can be a coach. We already said at the beginning you don't need that. We already said at the beginning what the steps were to identify as a coach, to actually be a coach, to be a paid coach, to be a professional coach. Those layers of new skills and new levels. But if that permission is something that is stopping you from getting out there and delivering the skills, get a cert. Just like when we work with clients, we might recognize that the client doesn't need us to handhold them through every workout at first. Some novice clients need that, just like some novice coaches need that, and that's okay. Just know that that is something that you are doing for your own confidence and validation, not something you actually need in most cases. So those are kind of the 5 reasons, the 5 benefits you could get from getting a cert and to establish it and validate it. I will say, as a general rule, we say this in the principles course, we say this in Coaching 101. If you consider yourself a professional, on that 4th tier, yes, you do not need a certification. You should have one. You should have a recognized one, primarily because, if for no other reason, that liability part is a lot harder to get, or it can be harder to get in your jurisdiction without a certification of some kind. And if there is a legal case, if there is a legal issue, someone gets hurt and they feel like they have a claim, then having 0 certifications can be a point of conflict where a jury or however the process plays out decides that you were negligent, you did not do the necessary work to prevent this injury from occurring. So I will throw that out there as our recommendation as a company for our coaches, for our PBC graduates, for our aspiring clients who are looking to be coaches. So that's it. Next week, what we're talking about, how to go from it's one thing to be a novice coach and to progress from there. Learn the teaching progressions, learn a basic learn how to deliver on a basic program, learn the basic troubleshooting that people commonly see on the templates that you start with, and you're 90% of the way there as a novice coach. But what does that next step look like? That's what next week is about. If you have any questions, you can reach me on the Barbell Logic Academy Instagram channel. That's where you are right now. You can reach me on my personal Instagram at CJGocher. We'll be posting highlights from this on this channel, as well as the full video on our YouTube channel. If you are interested in a certification, if one of your needs is met by what we just talked about, then, excuse me, if one of your needs is met by what we just talked about, it could be met by the Professional Barbell Coach certification offered by Barbell Logic. It is a 3-step process from a written exam to an interview to a platform evaluation, all delivered online, that helps you not just to learn how we deliver coaching that is model-informed, client-centered, but also demonstrates that skill set to an audience. So, all that being said, thanks so much, and I'll catch you next week.